For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber for instant analysis of the 7th player run practice of the summer. It's also the last player run practice of June. It was an interesting day today. We saw all three quarterbacks, unlike last PRP. We saw Sears, JT Daniels, and Matt Fink, but we only saw JT Daniels kind of warm up in the pre-practice section, but then we saw Sears and Matt Fink for the whole practice. So it was good to see those quarterbacks back out there, but it was lower numbers today than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I think I got 66 or so, so it's a few numbers less than we've seen. Just 7 offensive linemen were able to go through, so we saw some different combinations with Toa Lobendon at left tackle, and you saw the Brett Neal and Justin Dedich alternating between center and guard, back and forth. So they're running a little low on numbers. We think the plan is to be off next week, 4th of July week, with the 4th in the middle of the week and all that, and then to come back for a couple of strong weeks in July. I don't know how they're going to work. You got Pac-12 Media Day, July 25th, and then they've really still got a week before they start practice in August. So I don't know exactly how. There's some years they've gone right up to practice, and some years they've kind of tapered off when it gets to August. So I don't think we know exactly how that's going to go. But I thought today was kind of a Friday when you've maybe worked hard inside and you've done the team run at 6 and weightlifting at 7, and you get out here about 8:15. Some of the guys are still eating breakfast, and so they did an hour of a PRP. But you could tell it was kind of getaway day. But I thought they got something out of it.
Mm-hmm. But it was pretty much the top receivers of the day were walk-ons and a Janae Harris. So I don't know how much you can take away from this practice when those are the top receivers. But it kind of begs the question, in days like today when it's kind of low-key, why isn't Pai Young getting out there more? Why aren't some of the receivers who don't necessarily get the main reps, why aren't they forcing the issue?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer. I think we saw Trevon Sidney try to do some things afterwards, and it looks like he's got a hamstring issue or something maybe with his hip that isn't fully back yet, and he's not ready to go. But for some of the guys, I don't know. We did see Daniel Imatorbhebhe, who looks more like a wide receiver now. His body is very similar to his brother Josh. I think Josh might be approaching 220, and Daniel, he looks. I would be surprised if he's 230 now. He's just a slimmer, trimmer guy, and we actually did see him get out there for a couple of 11-on-11 plays, and he caught the ball on one. So he's clearly moving in the right direction for him, which is a good thing because none of the other scholarship tight ends were here. Tyler Petit, Eric Cromanoke, Josh Fallow, and so you got Austin Appleby. At least today, he didn't have to run every single play in 7-on-7 and 11-on-11.
Mm-hmm. That is an interesting question, though, as far as the health of the tight ends. We haven't really seen them much during these PRPs. They haven't been involved as much in the offense, and if that's something you want to see from USC's offense, is that a little concerning that they're not very much involved in summer so far? Yeah,
you'd like to see them throw to the tight ends. I mean, I think that works well with the the run first concept, and either any of the cornerbacks. I think the ability to throw the ball to the tight end, I think, is a good thing. So the more they can do that, you would hope that becomes part of what they're doing when they come back after the 4th. But yeah, I because every year you have this sense that okay, they're going to throw it to the tight end. They're going to throw it to the tight end. We just haven't seen that yet. But I think they, I think you'd like to see them do that. We haven't seen them do it quite enough.
Mm-hmm. One of the incoming freshmen that is worth spotlighting is Devon Williams, the wide receiver. He stays after every practice doing extra reps with the quarterbacks. He seems to be trying to get the most out of these workouts. How nice is that if you're a quarterback, you have a tall guy in Devon Williams to work with that much?
Well, on a day like that, like this, when Matt and Jack stayed late, after they were finished, you really just need somebody to throw the ball to. And I think it works really well if it's a, freshman who's learning how to, run the patterns and all that. I thought that's very good to see. Devon caught a couple of balls today. He's been catching balls down the field, which, when you've got a 6'5" kid with that kind of, athleticism, that's a good thing to see. But then to see him stay after, because, he didn't get a chance. He wasn't playing in a modern day type league, so he hasn't, played at this level. But he certainly looks like he's got, the skill set, the physical, talent to be very competitive here. So I just think he can't get enough work. He just that's a real positive out of today, is watching his attitude about things. It's interesting. Amon-Ra St. Brown stays after every time, and he does his special drills where he's catching the ball, lying on the ground, and coming at him from all different directions, and really working on his hands. And to see Devon working on his patterns, I think, is a real plus. I think the other guy we saw today, saw more of catching the ball, and then he got a chance to run it at the very end, is Marquise Stepp. I had seen the video of him, and he's a 230-pound. I mean, he is really a solid 230 pounds, and very compact guy, and yet he's got quick feet. He catches the ball, and he's got quick feet. He made a couple of plays today where he changed directions, and sometimes you worry about a 230-pound kid, that, especially a younger kid, that might be a little heavy-footed, and he doesn't look that at all. I mean, he just looks like he really belongs with Vavae and Steven and Akasedric. That you've got fairly big body guys, although he's the biggest body of them all, but with quick feet. And I like what I saw from him today.
Mm-hmm. Despite today being more of a low-key workout, I thought the defense had one of their better practices. There was many would-be sacks during the team period, and then you also saw a lot of the younger guys partnering up with older guys, kind of showing them the way. I saw John Houston and Raymond Scott going over some things. So what did you see from the defense?
Yeah, I thought there were, a lot of activity, and they're serious. I mean, they go the other end of the field, and they just do a lot of. And like Porter Gustin has got him going on pass rush drills, and he's the one that's got the the pads on his arms and making them do this move or do that move or go inside or go outside, and they just keep working. I like that. And then finally at the end they got together for some 11-on-11, and they really speed things up. And I like today that at every level the defense speeded things up, and I think that's. We commented about that the other night when we weren't sure if they were quite going full speed. I think the defense needs to speed the offense up as much as they can and get as close to where they're going to be game speed wise, and I think we saw that today. They just got a lot of athletes, and they've just got to play athletically. And I think again you were right, we saw that.
Mm-hmm. Going forward, as you mentioned, we believe they're going to have next week off, so they should be back for the next 2 weeks. And then that third week of July, the week of the 25th, when Pac-12 Media Days, we're still not sure if they are going to practice that week, because usually they take that week off before fall camp. Fall camp's going to start those first couple days of August. But we should be able to talk to the players in July, so stay tuned for that. But what are you expecting from this team in July?
Yeah, I would think with the time off and the fact that they've been really, I think, cautious about a lot of these guys, about, Andrew Voorhees and Chuma Doga and, Trevon and just a whole slew of guys that we haven't seen out there really pushing it. Daniel for the first time back, but Josh Fallow, he doesn't look like he's 100%, but we're not exactly sure where that is. I would think that by the time they're back in July, we get more of a sense of everybody out there and everybody, I think they gotta kind of test themselves and push themselves. I think it'll be interesting to see, what happens with Stephen Carr and how quickly, does he get back in the mix? Does he do that before the start of practice in July or not? But I think that would be, kind of the plan, because this gives you another maybe 10 days or so, to not push yourself past where they want you to do that, and then see where they are.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the last PRP of June. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.